Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. United States asks Israel to stop shooting at UN peacekeepers in Lebanon. Israel acknowledges firing at immediate threat near UN position in Lebanon. India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh inaugurates and dedicates to nation 75 infrastructure projects. Warns against threat to India, says won't hesitate stern action. And the festival of Vijay Dashmi being celebrated across India. President Murmu, Prime Minister Narendra Modi extend greetings on the occasion. Fresh smoke plumes rose from Beirut's southern suburbs at morning light on Saturday as hostilities between Israel and Lebanon continued to simmer and concerns of a destabilizing West Asia worried the international community. Israel's military said that 2 UN peacekeepers were wounded by an Israeli strike near their watchtower in South Lebanon on Friday. The blasts shook the peacekeepers' main base in the area for the second time in 48 hours. Meanwhile, Hezbollah said it launched a salvo of missiles at an Israeli military base south of the coastal city of Haifa on Saturday as Israelis marked the Yom Kippur holiday, the holiest day in the Jewish calendar. In a statement, the Hezbollah group said their fighters struck a base south of the city of Haifa, targeting the explosives factory there with a salvo of missiles. Amid the escalation, US President Joe Biden said on Friday he is asking Israel to not hit UN peacekeepers in its conflict with Hezbollah. Biden's remarks came after Israeli forces early Friday shelled an observation post belonging to UN interim force in Lebanon at its headquarters in southern Lebanon, wounding 2 peacekeepers from the Sri Lankan contingent. As Israel faced a chorus of condemnation from United Nations and Western allies, the IDF acknowledged firing at immediate threat near UN position in Lebanon and pledged to carry out a thorough review. It further said the IDF is in contact with UNIFIL for coordination purposes and will continue to do so. The IDF's statement came after the UN mission said 2 of its peacekeepers were injured after explosions close to an observation tower in its Nakura headquarters. It was the second incident of its kind reported by UNIFIL in 2 days after 2 other blue helmets were injured on Thursday, sparking global condemnation. The leaders of France, Italy and Spain have condemned unjustifiable Israeli attacks that have hit the UN peacekeeping force in Lebanon amid heightened conflict in the region. France, Italy and Spain, the largest European contributors to UNIFIL in terms of personnel, in a joint statement expressed outrage after several peacekeepers were hit at UNIFIL's main base in Nakura. The statement said these attacks constitute serious violation of the obligations of Israel under United Nations Security Council Resolution 1701 and under humanitarian international law. The nations recall that all peacekeepers must be protected and reiterate their praise for the continued and indispensable commitment of UNIFIL troops personnel in this very challenging context. The 3 European nations also called for an immediate ceasefire in the region. The Italian government formally protested against Israeli authorities, reiterating that what is happening near the base of Italian UNIFIL contingent in southern Lebanon is not acceptable.
It is unacceptable. It violates what was established by Resolution 1701 of the United Nations. The Italian government, as you know, has strongly protested with the Israeli authorities. On this issue, with France and Spain, we have also decided to make a common declaration.
French President Emmanuel Macron on Friday condemned the deliberate targeting of UN peacekeepers by Israel, addressing a summit of European and Mediterranean leaders in Cyprus. Macron said that it was absolutely unacceptable that Israeli forces were deliberately targeting the UN peacekeepers in Lebanon, stating that France will not tolerate such actions.
Finally discussing Lebanon alongside the Italian and Spanish prime ministers who, like France, are historical contributors to UNIFIL. I want to say here that the 700 French soldiers involved in this force are a sign of our unwavering support and of our desire to be committed to the security of both Israel and Lebanon. We condemn it. We will not tolerate it, and we will not tolerate it happening again.
Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez also condemned the attacks by Israel's armed forces against the United Nations peacekeeping force in Lebanon. The Spanish PM urged the international community to stop selling weapons to Israel, as it is the only way to end conflicts in Lebanon and Gaza. Moving on, the United States on Friday expanded sanctions on Iran's oil industry in response to October 1 missile attack. The Treasury Department said it was going after Iran's so-called shadow fleet of ships involved in selling Iranian oil in circumvention of existing sanctions. It was designating 10 companies and 17 vessels as blocked property over their involvement in shipments of Iranian petroleum and petrochemical products, the statement added. The State Department also announced it was slapping sanctions on 6 other firms and 6 ships for knowingly engaging in a significant transaction for the purchase, acquisition, sale, transport or marketing of petroleum or petroleum products from Iran. The sanctions form part of the US response to Iran's attack, in which it launched some 200 ballistic missiles against Israel. US Republican President nominee Donald Trump intensified his anti-immigration stance at a rally in Colorado, advocating death penalty for migrants convicted of killing US citizens.
We will begin the largest deportation operation in the history of the United States. We will close the border. We will stop the invasion of illegals into our country. We will defend our territory. We will not be conquered. We will not be conquered. And if they come back into our country, they will be told it is an automatic 10-year sentence in jail with no possibility of parole. And I'm hereby calling for the death penalty for any migrant that kills an American citizen or a law enforcement officer.
In Reno, Nevada, Donald Trump touted his plan to exempt tips and overtime payment from taxes.
Listen to this one. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime. No tax on tips. Think of that. No tax on overtime. That's why we're going to win, and service workers in Nevada, they love Trump, and I love you too.
Donald Trump also took aim at CBS's news program 60 Minutes, accusing the show of biased reporting in favor of Harris and calling for it to be taken off the air.
60 Minutes should be taken off the air for what they've done. It should be taken off the air, and you know what else, John? They should lose their license, because that's not just a little bad stuff. You know, they have licenses, these networks, they're worth billions of dollars. But the one thing is, it says you have to be honest. That's election interference. They're interfering with the election, am I right? They should lose their license, and 60 Minutes should be taken off the air.
US Vice President and Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris has said that de-escalation was needed in the Middle East, a region which has been on edge for months amid Israel's conflict in Gaza and Lebanon. Harris made the remarks to reporters in Las Vegas.
I'll say that what I've been saying about this, we have got to reach a ceasefire, both as it relates to what's happening in Lebanon and, of course, Gaza. We are working around the clock in that regard. But we need these wars to end, and we've got to definitely de-escalate what is happening in the region, and we're working on that.
Harris also slammed Republican rival Donald Trump, saying he is one who thrives on trying to divide people as a nation and demean people.
Donald Trump has shown himself to be someone who thrives on trying to divide us as a nation and demean people, call people names. And that's not the sign of the character in someone that we want as President of the United States. We have so much more in common than what separates us as Americans. And it is, I think, in the best interest of everyone to have a leader who measures their strength not based on who they beat down, but on who they lift up. And that's the kind of president I intend to be.
Updates from Russia-Ukraine conflict. As Ukraine's Air Force on Saturday shot down 24 out of 28 Russian drones that launched overnight. Ukraine's military said that its forces also hit a fuel depot in the Luhansk region in eastern Ukraine. Further, Ukrainian General Staff said the facility was used to store oil and oil products which were supplied for the needs of the Russian army. Meanwhile, Russia claimed that its forces had carried out dozens of strikes on Ukrainian energy facilities over the past week, while Ukraine reported the destruction of a Russian helicopter during ongoing frontline battles with Russian forces. The Russia's defense ministry said that its forces had delivered 38 strikes on Ukrainian military targets, including oil, gas, energy sites, and arms and ammunition depots. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky continued his European tour on Friday with a visit to Germany. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz received Ukrainian President Zelensky in Berlin, where Scholz promised further aid packages before the cold Ukrainian winter sets in. At a briefing with Zelensky in Berlin, Scholz announced a €1.4 billion military aid package for Ukraine by the end of 2024, adding that it was a signal to Russia that the West would not stop supporting Kiev. While Zelensky said that he would like to see the conflicts with Russia end by 2025 and that aid to Kiev should not decrease in the meantime.
For the short term, Germany has pledged additional millions of euros, 170 million, so that the worst damage can be repaired quickly and the heat supply network can be restored. We are also continuing our military support for Ukraine. It is good that we have just delivered a new comprehensive military support package worth over 600 million to Ukraine. By the end of the year, with the support of our partners, Belgium and Denmark and Norway, we will also deliver another military support package worth around 1.4 billion to Ukraine.
I will present the plan to Olaf on how to force Russia towards peace, on how to put an end to this war no later than in 2025 and guarantee that aggression won't repeat itself. This plan is a bridge to hold an effective peace summit which will put a full stop to the war. This plan won't substitute a peaceful initiative, but it will strengthen Ukraine's position in bringing peace closer. We can do it in cooperation with all of our partners. We count on Germany's support too. Thank you very much.
Later, Ukraine's president wrapped up his tour by meeting German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier at Bellevue Palace. Zelensky has been meeting allies in Europe this week to present a victory plan to end the conflicts, while also pressing to use long-range weapons that can strike deeper into Russian territory. The Ukrainian leader has been seeking fresh military and financial aid from his European allies amid fears of dwindling support if Donald Trump wins the US presidency next month. Germany is Ukraine's second biggest donor of military aid. Russian President Vladimir Putin held talks with Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian on Friday in Turkmenistan. Both the leaders hailed their countries' growing economic ties and similar views on world affairs. Pezeshkian said the communication between Russia and Iran is strengthening and becoming more robust as the two sides had agreed to boost cooperation in a number of areas. Pezeshkian added both the countries are close to signing a strategic partnership agreement which could be finalized at the BRICS summit in Russia later this month. Putin also invited Pezeshkian to come to Russia on an official visit. Updates on Hurricane Milton now. Residents of Florida in the southeastern United States are reeling from the devastating impact of Hurricane Milton barely 2 weeks after Hurricane Helene ravaged the state. Recovery efforts included power restoration, mud removal from waterlogged homes, and clearing the substantial debris left in the aftermath of Hurricanes Milton and Helene. Hillsborough County residents tabbed in flooded homes were rescued after torrential waters and tornadoes inflicted devastating damage. Meanwhile, the White House said the US President Joe Biden will visit Florida on Sunday to survey the damage.
That's right.
Still to come on this edition of DD India Live. India's tallest 211 feet Ravan effigy set for the Shera celebrations in capital Delhi. And BCCI announces squad for upcoming 3-match series against New Zealand starting from October 16. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. In a major boost to border infrastructure, India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh inaugurated and dedicated to the nation 75 infrastructure projects constructed by Border Roads Organisation at a cost of $267 million. These projects have been constructed in 11 border states and union territories of the country, including the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. The ceremony was organized by the Border Roads Organisation in India's northeastern state of Sikkim on Saturday, in which the Defence Minister inaugurated 22 roads, 51 bridges and 2 other miscellaneous projects. Out of these projects, 19 have been constructed in UT of Jammu and Kashmir, 11 in UT of Ladakh, 18 in Arunachal Pradesh, 9 in Uttarakhand, 6 in Sikkim, 5 in Himachal Pradesh, 2 each in West Bengal and Rajasthan, and 1 each in Nagaland, Mizoram and Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh performed the traditional Shastra Puja at the Sukna military station in Darjeeling, West Bengal. The significant ceremony in the Indian Army symbolizes the respect for weapons as the protectors of the nation's sovereignty. He initiated the rituals with Kalash Puja, followed by Shastra Puja and Vahan Puja. He also offered prayers to a range of modern military equipment, including state-of-the-art infantry, artillery and communication systems, mobility platforms and drone systems. The event concluded with the minister's interaction with the troops. In his address, the Defence Minister warns against threats to India, saying will not hesitate stern action if in danger.
हमने आज तक किसी भी देश पर आक्रमण नहीं किया है, क्योंकि हमारे मन में किसी भी देश के लिए कभी भी कोई बैर का भाव नहीं रहा है। हमने तो किसी भी देश के साथ केवल तब युद्ध किया है जब उसने हमारी अखंडता और संप्रभुता का अपमान किया है, जब उसने धर्म, सत्य और मानवीय मूल्यों के खिलाफ जंग छेड़ी है। हमने किसी भी देश के विरुद्ध नफरत या घृणा से प्रेरित होकर कभी युद्ध नहीं किया है।
Rajnath Singh also said that India is the only country which worships weapons and scriptures together.
मैं आप सभी को विजयादशमी के इस पावन पर्व की हार्दिक बधाई देता हूं और आपके परिवारजनों को भी मैं अपनी हार्दिक शुभकामनाएं देता हूं। साथियों, भारत संभवतः इकलौता देश है जहां शास्त्रों और शस्त्रों की एक साथ पूजा होती है, यानी शास्त्र और शस्त्र को समान आदर के भाव से भारत में देखा जाता है। यह हमारी उस विशाल और महान सांस्कृतिक परंपरा का प्रतीक है जिसमें हम किसी भी वस्तु का उपयोग करने के पहले और बाद में उसके प्रति कृतज्ञता ज्ञापित करते हैं।
Millions across India are celebrating Dussehra, a festival symbolizing the victory of good over evil on Saturday. Dussehra, also known as Vijay Dashmi, marks the end of 9-day festival of Navratri, during which people worship goddess Durga. President of India Draupadi Murmu, Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar and Prime Minister Narendra Modi extended greetings to fellow citizens on the occasion of Dussehra. President Draupadi Murmu and Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be attending the Dussehra program today, organized by Sri Dharmik Leela Committee in Delhi's Ram Leela Maidan. Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, or the RSS, enters its 100th year on this auspicious occasion of Vijay Dashmi. Like every year, Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh Chief Mohan Bhagwat performed Shastra Puja in Nagpur to mark the occasion. This ceremony involves the worship of weapons, symbolizing strength and the protection of Dharma, celebrating the 300th birth anniversary of Punya Shlok Devi Ahilya Bai Holkar. As the city of Mysore once again transforms into a dazzling hub of cultural heritage, the Mysore Dussehra festival promises to be an awe-inspiring spectacle this year, offering a rich blend of tradition. Devotees make tableau, showcasing a rich heritage of Indian tradition. The Mysore Palace has also been certified as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It is also the main venue for many of these events. For centuries, the Vodiyar dynasty has been celebrating this festival with great pomp and splendor. The festival is dedicated to goddess Chamundeshwari, the presiding deity of Mysore. In a major push to create job opportunities in India, around 91,000 internships have been offered by 193 companies through the Prime Minister Internship Scheme portal. Launched as a pilot earlier this month, the portal is now open for applicants to register. The government aims to provide internship opportunities to youth in top 500 companies of India, with a broader goal of training 10 million youth aged 21 to 24 over the next 5 years. Let's take a look at other stories making news today. Haryana oath-taking ceremony to be held on October 17. Days after registering a resounding victory in Haryana Assembly elections, the newly elected Council of Ministers will take oath in Panchkula on October 17. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, BJP President JP Nadda, Union Ministers and several other BJP leaders will attend the oath-taking ceremony. On the auspicious occasion of Vijay Dashmi, Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath offered prayers to Srinathji at Gorakhnath Temple. The festival of Vijay Dashmi is celebrated almost in every part of the country, and there are several tales associated with it. The most popular being the defeat of Ravan by Lord Ram, one of the most revered god figures in India. In a magnificent display of harmony, 108 Veena players performed at Prasanna Venkatesa Perumal Temple in Madurai on the occasion of Vijay Dashmi. Young and old women and men performed the Veena concert to the accompaniment of Mridangam. Hundreds of devotees and tourists watched the performance. In sports updates, after securing comprehensive wins over Bangladesh in the first two T20s, India looks to sweep the series clean in Hyderabad. India has displayed their dominance in the series by winning the first T20 comfortably by 7 wickets and scored second T20, in fact, by a huge margin of 86 runs. The Surya Kumar-led side is expected to be unchanged for the final match of the series. And on the other hand, Bangladesh would be looking to secure a consolation win after a poor performance in the T20I series as well as the test series that preceded the T20 matches. The Board of Control for Cricket in India on Friday announced a 15-man squad for the upcoming 3-match series against New Zealand starting October 16. Rohit Sharma will continue to lead the team while ace pacer Jasprit Bumrah will be the vice-captain. The team has seen no changes in the squad that featured against Bangladesh, except Yash Dayal dropped out. The squad will feature 3 fresh faces in the form of Harshit Rana, Nitish Kumar Reddy, Mayank Yadav, who will be joining the squad as travelling reserves. Pace bowler Mohammad Shami has failed to recover from injury and will miss the 3 Test series. Shami sustained an injury during the World Cup and is targeting a return for the Australia series. That's all for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.